Fit to Love, Episode 50, the 10 Essential Homeopathic Remedies for Your Medicine Cabinet.
Fit to Love is physical, emotional, and spiritual fitness to achieve the happy life you deserve. From exercise to cooking, relationships, and spirituality, you'll find all the inspiration you need right here with our host, JJ Flizanes.
Welcome to Fit to Love, Wellness Wednesdays. Today's topic, the 10 essential homeopathic remedies for your medicine cabinet. We have back a very special guest. Jeanne Peters is a registered dietitian and a healthy aging expert with a mission to help women and men feel more vital energy through the healing power of whole foods and lifestyle medicine. In practice for over 33 years, she specializes in optimizing women's hormone health, digestive and thyroid disorders, and how to break through weight loss resistance. She co-founded the Nourishing Wellness Medical Center with partner Dr. Alan Peters, who specializes in bioidentical hormone health and homeopathy for men and women. She was voted California Dietitian of the Year by her colleagues with nutritional expertise and was recently certified in clinical homeopathy by the Education in Clinical Homeopathy. Welcome back, Jeanne.
Oh, thanks, JJ. It's great to be here.
So today's topic is homeopathy. First, let's start by telling people what homeopathy is.
It's a great question, and it's a system of medicine that's been around for over 200 years. It was started by a physician, Samuel Hahnemann, and he was looking at taking very dilute plant, mineral, and animal substances and seeing what kind of an effect that he had on the body. And what his belief is that if he took these substances, what actually in a large dose of a substance that would trigger an experience, in a homeopathic dose would cause it to become less. So let me give you a real quick example. You go ahead and cut an onion. You know, for many of us, just standing over an onion will cause our nose to run or our eyes might water. And he noted that. So that particular substance is allium cepa, and we use a homeopathic dose of allium cepa when we have people who have this like runny nose that can't stop or these watery eyes that are so troublesome. And when we use a little homeopathic dose, it literally like resets and brings the body back into balance, and it'll just stop naturally. So we're not suppressing symptoms. We're not trying to mask anything. We're literally like eliciting your body's own pharmaceuticals to get the body back into balance.
I've often heard you refer to it, maybe others, as vibrational medicine.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, it's actually something in which, imagine if you took, again, the substance that would actually cause an effect, like standing over those onions, you're getting actually the chemicals from that. But in a homeopathic dose, it is such a small, minute dose. Like literally, if I prescribed for you a 30C dose of allium cepa, there's really not any substance actually in that. So it has enough to elicit this effect on the body in a very minute way. So the wonderful aspect of homeopathy and why I love it so much, JJ, and why we use so much of it in our practice is not only is it FDA approved, it's safe, it's non-toxic, and it's important for women and men to get this because when women are pregnant, for example, there's very few medicines that women can take that isn't going to have a direct impact on the baby. It's also real important for women who are breastfeeding. You know, they don't want to take medicines that would have an impact. Homeopathy is one of those areas where they can take it and it'll have no impact on the developing fetus, but it will have a definite impact on the woman. So it's wonderful to be able to use, and that's why I thought this is a great show so we can get people maybe thinking about some remedies that they can keep on hand that, are safe and non-toxic.
And they're really not very expensive either. I know, your office sells them, and so does Whole Foods, and some of the local drugstores are now even carrying some of the common homeopathic remedies for colds, yes?
Yeah, and in fact, I was in the San Francisco airport last week, and I was so excited to see that, both that airport and Heathrow and London, they carry these homeopathic remedies. People have indigestion. Maybe they can't quite sleep very well. So it's really practical to think that we would find these in places where we're already looking for medicines, maybe to help us through a crisis. So the ones that I'm going to recommend are great to have on hand for some of the more common crises that we all experience from time to time.
The other thing that I really love about homeopathy, besides the fact that it's not a drug, it's safe, there's nothing toxic in it, is that if it's the right remedy for you, it works, and it can work quickly. And if it's not the right remedy for you, it does nothing, and there's no side effects, correct?
Exactly. That's a great plus. It's also great to keep in mind that if you were taking it, yesterday I was treating a fellow who has high blood pressure, and we had to unfortunately put him onto a little bit of high blood pressure medicine. He's going through a crisis, but at the same time we also gave him a homeopathic blood pressure medicine that's made from a plant. And what we know is that we're going to be able to quickly wean him off of the traditional medicine, and he'll be on that homeopathic dose, and he'll be fine. But we needed to get his blood pressure down quickly, and one of the things about homeopathy is that sometimes when you're working with very chronic conditions, things that you've had for a long, long time, it takes a little bit longer to go ahead and find the right medicine, or maybe to be able to get the right effect. For things that are more acute, like you just had a bee sting, homeopathy is amazing. Like, it works better than an EpiPen for, it's maybe hard to convince parents of that, but if you have a child who has any kind of acute conditions, homeopathy can work really quick. So let's go ahead and share a little bit of some of those medicines that we might keep on hand.
Absolutely. And I just want to make one more testimonial about that, because after launching this show, of course, the emotional root of a cold, because I was experiencing getting a cold, is mental overstimulation and too much going on. I started to get symptoms of congestion and a sore throat, and after a couple days, because my medicine cabinet doesn't have any medicine in it. My medicine cabinet only has homeopathy in it, and I even forgot that I had a remedy. It's not on this list, but it was one for sinus, and after a couple days of getting really frustrated with the blowing of my nose and the cold not subsiding quickly enough for me, I just thought, oh yeah, I have these, and I took them, and overnight, gone.
I love it. I love it. I hear that all the time. That's why I love homeopathy.
Okay, well, let's get started, and why don't we take it at whatever pace you think would be good for people, give them as much information as you think is necessary for each remedy, and just everyone out there who's listening, know that there's a lot of remedies. Jeannie's just going over like the top 10 to keep on hand, and she'll also tell you why you want to have it on hand. So go ahead, Jeannie.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually get all these down, and I'm going to put it onto my website, and so if you didn't get them all, I'll have almost verbatim what I'm going to be sharing with you in a program called, the 10 Best Homeopathic Remedies that every family should have. So let's start with A, and a great one for A is arnica. So Arnica montana is an herb that grows up in the high mountains. It was first used by the Swiss Army, and they did it whenever there was injuries, trauma, anything in which there was sprains, ankles, bruises, swelling of any kind when you fall and you maybe twist your ankle. So this is one remedy I strongly recommend everybody should have. In fact, it's my absolute favorite when it comes to first aid. I raised 3 boys. They were all involved with sports. We used a lot of arnica, particularly with my last son, who was a skateboarder and was playing hockey at the age of 5. So he was always falling and bruising himself. And so arnica works really well to help reduce the swelling and the bruising, so the discoloration and the swelling from any kind of trauma or injury. It's great. So you can use it for bruises, sprains. If you had a hematoma, I had one the other day. I just, slammed my finger in a door, and so my one finger got all bruised. I immediately put some pressure on it, and then thankfully I love arnica gel. I actually store it in my refrigerator, and I applied it to the affected area, and almost instantly I felt relief. So I've had patients who are going to be going into surgery, and I'll have them use arnica the day before they go into surgery, and luckily this is one of those remedies that will not be negated by your physician because it doesn't have any impact, but it will help to decrease inflammation. And then after surgery, I have patients when they are actually at the point where they can start taking their medicines. They can just start taking homeopathy, and it will help to improve or decrease the inflammation. It's great for dental work. You're going to go in and you're going to have a crown put on or some major dental work. You can just put a couple of the arnica pellets under your tongue after the dental work, and it will decrease the swelling and the inflammation that sometimes can last for a day or two. And any kind of hard sports training, like I'm using a lot of it right now because I'm getting ready for a triathlon, and so I'm doing a little bit more exercise than normal. So I take a little arnica by mouth before my activity and then after when I'm doing a harder workout, and it's definitely helped make a difference. So think of it for any kind of bruises, sprains, muscle or joint injuries, before and after surgery, dental work. All of those would be great times to use arnica.
I just have to come in because I was never going to share this, but now I'm sharing it with the world. I was experimenting with getting some work done on my face. Now, I would never use anything like Botox or anything like that. It would all be natural. There'd be no, chemicals, but they had to use a needle. And it was like I did like a little test of an injection around my eyes, which obviously is a very sensitive area. And I immediately, like in between from left eye to right eye, was applying arnica gel on my face and taking the pills at the same time. So I was doing the oral and I never bruised. Now, I did swell, but I never, ever bruised. And when I told people that, they thought, really? You never bruised? That's a very sensitive place on your face. They expect bruising. Well, because I was taking arnica like it was candy, I never bruised.
Yeah, it's just a great remedy to have on hand for that reason, JJ. And it's also really good. I forgot to mention trauma. My sister had an automobile accident. She was hit from behind, and she whipped her head back real quickly. So, trauma, immediately she thought, I got to go to the chiropractor, but chiropractor couldn't get her in until the next day. So I reminded her to go over to Whole Foods and just what you did. Get the pills and also get the gel or the cream. Either one comes in various forms, and start applying it to the back of the neck. And would you believe that, again, even though she had some issues, that just gave her relief. She was able to sleep a little bit better, and the next morning didn't feel quite. So it's actually going to help release some of that trauma as well. So it's an amazing remedy. Everybody should have arnica. So that's what I'm going to say there. It's just one of those basics.
I agree.
Yeah. So since we're doing A's, let me do another one. So if you've ever had, this is a great one because it's summer right now. So if anybody's ever had a bee sting, and you know just how quickly you swell up from bee stings, Apis mellifica is the homeopathic name for bee venom. And it's a great first aid remedy for when you have the stinging or the itching or the swelling or the redness due to a bee sting, but really for any kind of insect bite. My husband's the type, and my one son is really sensitive to spider bites. Like they get like a giant welt. And so, again, just taking a little bit of Apis, and you can get it either in a 6C or a 30C. 6C has to do with the dilution. And so when bee stings come on, they come on fast, and the swelling comes on fast. If you can get the 6C, it's going to work really quickly for acute situations, but you may have to repeat it. And sometimes you might even have to repeat it every 15 to 20 minutes. You'll see oftentimes if you repeated it 2-3 times, like let's say maybe in an hour, you'll see a dramatic reduction in that post-swelling that you get. Even if you had a vaccination or if you get hives from insect bites, it'll help to reduce that impact. So great for, red skin area, anybody who's got itching, swelling, even for women who have painful breasts from breastfeeding, or their breast nipples get really enlarged or bright red. This is a great remedy to keep on hand. So Apis mellifica, and you can always get that at Whole Foods or Sprouts or any of your CVS. They all carry Apis, and they'll carry it in a 6C, and that's just a basic to always have in your medicine cabinet. And if you're the type that goes camping, I would also make sure you have an extra tube in your travel bag. All righty. So let's move on. How about we do our next one since we're on to A's? Let's move on to C. And C is for calendula. Calendula is a plant. It is a wonderful plant that is great for common skin ailments. So the remedy can come in either a pill form or a gel or a cream form. And I keep the gel and cream form on hand, particularly whenever you have common skin ailments like cuts or lacerations, or something in which maybe you've got cracks in the bottom of your feet, or your hands are maybe really been injured and crackling because of working in water all day. Calendula is wonderful. It's almost like creating a second skin. If you've got a baby with a diaper rash, calendula is amazing. So think of it as helping to speed up the healing of tissue, preventing infections from tissue that might be reddened or chapped. And then finally, it's also helping to deal with any kind of burns. So if you burned your skin and you got that bright red, think of calendula. It'll really help. Two others with C that I like are both Chestol and Cold Calm. And these are combo remedies that are put out by Boron. And Boron is one of the oldest homeopathic companies. They're out of France. And I love them to death because they've helped me so much. So Cold Calm is literally helping people who have a cold on those first couple days when you've got the acute symptoms. So if you all of a sudden are having like a nasal discharge and it's watery or it's profuse, it's irritating, it's acidic-like, you're having sneezing attacks, maybe your head feels really heavy, you're having maybe a stuffed nose, maybe there's like pressure at the root of the nose, your eyes are watering. Cold Calm is great because it's a combination of about 7 different remedies in a mild dose. They're in 6C dose, and you can take it as soon as you start to feel the symptoms. And typically we have people take it every 15 minutes for the first hour, and right then and there that will help a lot. And then gradually you can extend the dose in between, let's say maybe 2 to 3 hours, but you'll find it'll give you great relief. The other one that I want to mention is Chestol. So Chestol is great for coughs, and it also is a combination of different ingredients in a honey base. And honey just turns out to be just great anyways. It's very soothing to the throat, particularly a sore throat. So it's great for that part. But if you actually are having that kind of a cough where you're laying in bed, you've been pretty good all day, but now you lay down to sleep and you get that little tickle, and then all of a sudden it starts this kind of spasmodic cough, it's great for that. It's great for more like an irritating cough, where when you cough, it really hurts to cough. All different types of coughing can be improved by Chestol. And as JJ mentioned earlier, these remedies are all reasonable in price. So a bottle of Chestol, might be good for a number of different seasons, and it might cost you less than $9 to $10. So that's the story with Chestol. Anything you want to add to that, JJ?
No, so far I have everything that we've talked about.
Okay, I love it.
I do see a few on this list that I don't have, and I'm sure you may add in some other ones. And actually, because I was mentioning that I had that cold that kind of came on because of being overwhelmed and too much going on last week, and I'm at the tail end of that, you really just nailed it when you talked about using Chestol for that evening time where you're good all day, but then you lay down, because my husband has a fan, and because it's the difference between temperature when you have more testosterone, and he wants to have, and not to mention it's really hot right now in Southern California, and we don't have central air, so he wants that wind blowing on him, that air, to cool him down. But I always feel like it makes me cough. Like it induces coughs in me. So actually, I'm going to try that tonight. So thank you for that. I have Chestol in my cupboard. I'm going to go get it out and put it next to the bed for this evening. So all these remedies I've used, and they've all worked for me. And so absolutely, let's just continue.
Yeah, one other one that I love to throw in there, because we talked about colds and coughs, so we have to talk about the flu. I'm sure the CDC would love you to get that flu shot, but I'm going to, as your friendly homeopath, suggest that you consider another remedy that's cheap and doesn't have any of the side effects of the flu shot, and that's oscilloccinum. Oscilloccinum. It's that funny long word that you sometimes see. It's sold at Trader Joe's. It's sold at Whole Foods. It's sold at CVS. Sold in a lot of the health food stores. It's a great flu remedy, and it's actually a homeopathic dose of the avian bird flu. But what it does beautifully, in fact, it's the #1 selling remedy for a reason. It's the #1 selling flu remedy in the world because it works so effectively. So Oscillo is great to use for a couple of things. Let's say you're the type that's feeling a little bit run down and you feel like something's coming on. And the way that a lot of you will know that is because sometimes you'll get a chill. For some of you, you're going to get cold when you're feeling like your body is out of balance, and for others, you're going to feel hot. When you know that you've got those two symptoms happening, grab a packet of Osolo. It comes in little tiny little pellets, and put it under your tongue. And if possible, give yourself a nap. 2 hours later, you're going to feel a lot better. So if you can grab it when you start to feel that first little bit of a remedy, and usually for a lot of people it's fatigue, they're feeling tired or they have that cold or flu type symptom, that's the time to take Osolo. And you can abort the flu oftentimes, 70% of the times just by taking 1 or 2 of those remedies. I usually like to get it in a 6-pack because if I let it go a little too long, it may take a 6-pack of that Osolo to finally just abort the flu altogether. And it might take a period of a day and a half to do that. But it's great. I call it the student remedy because it's been so frequent that my son, who just graduated college, he's overdoing it, running the candle at both ends, getting up early in the morning and staying up too late. And classically, he'd start to get the symptoms of a flu. So when he felt that, he's trained himself now. He takes a session, 1 or 2 doses of Osolo, and is usually able to go ahead and feel back to normal. So great remedy to have on hand.
So actually, Jeannie, this remedy that I could never pronounce, I called it oxycinium.
The hardest thing is just to go ahead and say it. So call it Osolo. Osolo.
Yeah. Well, Osolo, that works much better, but I always had fun calling it that big, long name. Anyway, when I was single and living in the beach area and with my single friends and going out to the nightclubs, and that's back when I was eating gluten and dairy and have my slice of pizza at 2 o'clock in the morning after getting done dancing and walking back up the hill to go home, I started to feel the little tickle in my throat, which would indicate that, a little sore throat that would say I was kind of potentially going to get sick. And that time I used Osolo, and I didn't even get that much sleep, and I was, definitely around lots of germs and people, and I didn't necessarily take the best care of myself I could have, but I was on top of that. I took it I think you should take it every 3 to 6 hours. I took it every 6 hours for 48 hours, and I never got sick. So even under the worst situation, I was on top of that, not worse, but on top of a now I start to feel sick. I cancel my day. I make soup. I lay on the couch. I'm much better at taking care of and nipping things in the bud now than I was when 10, 20 years ago. So anyway, I just want to reiterate that this is a great remedy.
It's a great one. And there's another one I want to add to that, because had you known about this, it might have also helped you. I know it's helped my son quite a bit. I call this the student remedy. So this is great for anybody that has anticipation anxiety. So let's say 3 o'clock in the morning, you wake up and you cannot turn your brain off. All you're thinking about is that presentation that you have to do the next day. And you're not necessarily in fear, but you're anxious. You want to do well, and you can't turn the brain off. This remedy is great for that. Or let's just say you have to give a talk, and you're so fearful that you feel like your heart's going to explode, or your stomach is going to turn off. So this is great for anybody who gets that anxiety that has a tendency to impact their heart. They get kind of a racing heart, or their GI tract. You feel like you have to go to the bathroom 5 or 6 times before you get out and give your presentation. So it's great for anticipation anxiety. It's great for people who tend to get nervous apprehension and such so that they literally feel like they can't think clearly. So 5 pellets of gelsemium, typically a 15C, which you could probably get, maybe not at 15C, that dilution you might not be able to get in a health food store, but you could probably get it online. So if this is you're the person who typically has those symptoms of anxiety that I just described, a gelsemium would be a great remedy for you. And it's spelled GELSEM. IUM, and it's actually a plant. It's called yellow jasmine, and it has a great impact and effect, again, on the nervous system. It helps you so that your nervous system isn't oscillating at such a high level. It doesn't make you feel like a zombie. It just brings you back into balance, and it's beautiful. So I use it a lot with students. I use it with people who have to give presentations. It's also great for the flu. People who get the flu, who tend to have head congestion, they feel achy in the limbs. So gelsemium is a great one to have on hand.
I wish I would have known about that one last week. I could have probably helped myself not get as sick as I got, but nonetheless, we have 3 more remedies. But before we get to that, we need to take a moment to thank our sponsors.
Get the hottest tips and latest trends for your business success with Today's Innovative Woman magazine, a free print and online digital magazine. Plus, receive the special bonus video series, Platforms for Profit, the must-have marketing essentials for outrageous success, taught by media and marketing strategist Kathy Alessandra. Who is today's innovative woman? She's a smart and savvy business owner. She is driven and committed to success. She invests in herself and her business on everything from products to grow her knowledge, services to grow her business, and events to learn and connect with potential clients and customers. You can claim your free subscription today and get it mailed to your home or office at today'sinnovativewoman.com. If you are like most people who struggle with overeating, you may feel powerless over your habits and urges to eat. Powerless over what and how much you eat. Break the vicious cycle of emotional eating and take back your power over food with Dr. Lisa Gelper. Dr. Lisa Gelper has helped thousands discover their own power over food and help them to win freedom from the obsession and defeat that haunt yo-yo dieters, emotional eaters, and those who just hope to lose some weight. Visit her site at poweroverfood.com to read her articles, watch her videos, sign up for her monthly email tips, and check out her current classes. Again, that's poweroverfood.com.
Okay, Jeannie, what are the last 3 remedies of the 10 essential homeopathic remedies for your medicine cabinet?
Yeah, I think I'm going to just go through these real quickly. So one that I want to suggest is any of you that are on this that's ever had a hangover or ever ate too much and just felt like, oh my God, how could I have eaten such a weird combo of foods, and now you're feeling really full, uncomfortable. Maybe you've even waken up in the middle of the night, because you're feeling so uncomfortable. But the remedy I'm going to suggest is called Nux Vomica. So it's Nux and then vomica, like you feel like you're going to vomit. So Vomica. And it's great for people who feel they overate, they overdrank, you abused too much coffee, too much rich foods. It really has a calming effect on the nervous system. It's great for people who also maybe are just hypersensitive. If you're the type that's really hypersensitive to light, noise, odors, the slightest touch, you're sensitive to cold, you're out in cold air and you just, Nux Vomica is great for calming down your nervous system. It's great for helping to go ahead and improve digestion. So we use it a lot with people who have dyspepsia, but we also use it for people who just are super sensitive to just all the stimuli around them. Like maybe you've been to Disneyland. That's a perfect example. You've been to Disneyland. You've been overstimulated to the max. You've got a child that just can't calm down. Nux Vomica would be a great one to put into your medicine cabinet. And if your child is young, they can't quite put those little pellets under their tongue and hold them there, then you could actually just take the pellets. The medicine is on the outside of the pellet, and you could just put it under their tongue and let them suck on it. The medicines will get into their bloodstream rapidly, and it'll help to calm them down. If you've got an infant, you could actually take those pellets and put maybe 5 pellets into, maybe a couple of teaspoons of water, and just roll the pellets around, and then take an eyedropper and just put a couple of those drops underneath their tongue, and that would also help to calm them down. So it's great for everybody. And honestly, that's plenty right there. But I did have one more that I thought we could speak about, and that was a remedy that's called Gasalia. It's put out by a company called Boron. Comes in a little box. It's usually sold in the whole body section. It's great for people who have bloating or pain or pressure from gas. And it's actually made up of a number of different remedies. So it's got things that help people relieve stomach bloating from gas, maybe help to relieve some of the pressure that's building up in the above the belly, so above the belly button, but also in the lower GI system. And it also helps to relieve some of the pain that's associated with gas. Sometimes people have gas and they can't pass it. So it relieves that abdominal bloating, and it also helps to relieve the abdominal bloating above the belly button as well as below. And it's called Gasalia, so that's a great one to have on hand.
Excellent. And you can find out more about these homeopathic remedies from Jeanne Peters at her website at nourishingwellness.com. Now, Jeanne, if someone is listening and they're really interested in this because they didn't even know that homeopathy was safe, non-toxic for babies, for pregnancy, and now they're thinking, well, maybe there's some more specific remedies for me, could you do a homeopathic consultation over the phone?
Oh, absolutely. Do it all the time. I just talked with a gal from Mexico that thankfully, Mexico, there's lots of homeopathic remedies, but she's having hot flashes and she's right in the prime of menopause and she doesn't want to take bioidentical hormones. And so I just found out what her symptoms were and I was able to go ahead and give her 2 remedies. I'm really excited because many times I see women are able to go ahead and get improvements without having to use medicines. So this is a great place for anybody to consider. If you've got weird symptoms that don't feel like they can be addressed by modern medicine, think homeopathy and certainly think of me. I would love to go ahead and assist you. And a good homeopathic consultation might be, under $100. So, oftentimes I can, in 30, 40 minutes, be able to go ahead and make an assessment and give you some remedies to give a try.
So if you're interested, do not hesitate. Go to nourishingwellness.com. You can sign in to get email newsletters and updates. Or, Jeanne, if they're out of this country, what is the best email address for them to reach you?
Okay, great. jp@nourishingwellness.com. So JP for Jeanne Peters, Nourishing Wellness, just the way it sounds. And I'd love to stay in touch. Send me an email. I'd be glad to go ahead and give you some tips. And if you feel like you're somebody who could benefit from a consultation, you just send me an email. We'll go ahead and set it up. Thanks, JJ.
You're welcome, and all of your information will be on the website, fit2love.tv, so come on over and join the community. Again, thank you, Jeanne. I can't wait to have you back.
All right, I'm looking forward to that next time, too.
Looking for an engaging and inspiring speaker? Does your group need a good jolt of positive thinking? Look no further than JJ Flizanes. Visit her site to check out her most requested topics and video examples. jjflizanes.com. That's jjflizanes.com.
Is your website working for you? If it's not, Every Angle Media can help transform your existing business presence and build you a website that works when you're not working. Visit us online at everyanglemedia.com. The Fit to Love podcast show offers you 6 days a week of helpful content to achieve the happy life you deserve. Movement Mondays and Tasty Tuesdays are weekly videocasts, while Wellness Wednesdays, Thoughtful Thursdays, Freedom Fridays, and Sexy Saturdays are audio-only shows themed every week to address your holistic life and needs. If the show inspired you, we would love for you to share it and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us today. Head on over to fit2love.tv for recaps of every show, resources, and to join the community. That's FIT2LOVE.tv. Have a fit and fabulous day.